Hello everyone, this is section 2.9, which is the last section in chapter 2, and we're going to be solving linear inequalities. So inequalities are going to have an inequality symbol, and there are some special things we have to talk about on solving when we get there. But basically you can use the less than sign, you can use the greater than sign, and then you can also use less than or equal to or greater than or equal to. Now it's important here, let me write this out, less than or equal to. This is important because that's going to determine whether a certain number is in our solution set or not when it says or equal to. So less than versus less than or equal to, there's something different going on there. And then of course we also have greater than or equal to. All right, so, oops, I didn't put equal to over here. Okay, I left out the 2. Let's go on to the next slide. And so part of what we have to learn on this is what interval notation is. And so both of these, -3 to infinity, that's interval notation. -infinity to 4 is also interval notation. So it says, okay, graph the numbers, then write an inequality statement in X describing the numbers graphed. So to graph this, because it's saying it's going to infinity, this means that we are going to put our parenthesis. Notice it kind of matches this on the -3. We put a -3 here, and then you want to draw the line just so that you can see which direction you're going. So make sure that you actually put something there. And then that is that interval notation graphed. And here's what it means as an inequality. X is greater than 3. Now, when there's a parenthesis on the number, that means that number is not in the solution set, but it's everything greater than -3. Let's go on to the second one. To graph this, we're going to put this same kind of bracket that's on the 4. We're going to -infinity. Notice it has -infinity in the interval notation. Notice, and it tells you that that's interval notation. So to write this as an inequality, X is less than or equal to 4, because when we have a bracket, that also means the 4 is included. So there's some difference depending on parentheses or brackets. We always put a parenthesis on infinity or -infinity because there's no included number in this case. You might want to read through this in your book to help you understand it better. I'm going to explain it the best I can, but this is something that you may not have seen before. Okay, so let's do a little more graphing. This time they're written as an inequality. We're going to graph them, and we're going to write the solutions in interval notation. Now this is just really the same thing 3 different ways. We have the inequality, the graph, and interval notation. So it's usually helpful to graph first in order to write your interval. So the first one says, excuse me, y is less than 0. That means we're going to do a parenthesis because it doesn't have or equal to. And it's less than, so it goes in this direction. One thing you might do when you're trying to remember less than or greater than, if you make your hands into something that looks like signs, like greater than or less than, left hand is less than. So you can always look at it, oh, that's my less than sign. And then of course greater would be your other hand, your right hand. Now I have some gaps here in my line. Okay, and then we're going to write this in interval notation. So this one's going to -infinity. Anytime you write interval notation, you have to put it in numerical order. So if you think about this, -infinity is smaller than 0, right? Because it's just going on and on and on to the negative numbers. And so we write it in this order. Let me lower that just a little bit. And that's the interval notation for y equals, or y is less than 0. Interval. All right, so now let's graph. X is greater than or equal to 3. That means we're going to have a bracket. It's going to open in the direction that we're going. So the side opens toward the right because it's greater than or equal to. We always have to put the number here. And then in the interval, my 3 goes with the bracket. I'm going to positive infinity, and we've got it written in interval notation on this one. All right, I'm going to end this video and then we'll go on to another one